So anyway, St. Valentine's Day, what a wonderful day, love, what a wonderful thing, but what is love? Well, you got to start with the words of St. Paul, Corinthians 13:13. But now faith, hope, and love abide these three, but the greatest of these is love. That was one of Mrs. Stanford's favorite things. When she built the church in memory of her husband, she wanted those words to be part of the mosaic on the front of the church, and they are. If you look at the church, you see there's faith, hope, and love, three angels. But oddly enough, there's a fourth angel, charity. And that was a problem. She explained to the artist her vision, faith, hope, love, and charity, from her favorite Bible passage. And the artist said, but Mrs. Stanford, there are two translations of what St. Paul said in the original, whatever it was, Aramaic, Hebrew or something. One translation is faith, hope, and love, and the other translation is faith, hope, and charity. Charity and love are just two different translations of the same original text. So you really just want three angels, right? She said, no, wrong. She said, see that little book over there? And he said, you mean your Bible? And she said, no, the one next to it. Oh, your checkbook. So we have four angels on the front of the Stanford Church. However, the artist had a little comeback. He made charity on one side, love on the other side, and they look an awfully lot alike. But Mrs. Stanford had it right. In modern parlance, faith and hope, love and charity are quite different things. According to the dictionary, charity is the voluntary giving of help, typically in the form of money, to those in need. Help or money given voluntarily to those in need. Unemployed teacher, for example, living on charity. Kindness and tolerance in judging others. As in, she found it hard to look on her mother with much charity. or love of humankind, particularly in a Christian context. Faith, hope, and charity. And that was a big part of Mrs. Stanford's life. And both of the Stanfords using the wealth he got from being a robber baron and for the good of the youth of California. But what we celebrate on St. Valentine's Day isn't charity, wonderful as that is. It's romantic love, paradigmatically, but not exclusively, between a man and a woman, as we know. Some of my best friends are non-paradigms. And of course, here in California, non-paradigms tend to become paradigms. But romantic love. What is that? Well, dictionary tells us love, a deep romantic or sexual attachment to someone. Well, that's not quite right, is it? Because it's got an or there. And it's not love if it's just a sexual attachment. I mean, you miss the point of love. Because the way I look at it, you got this thing going on throughout the animal kingdom where nature, in her wisdom, decided we would use sex to get reproduction. Yeah, shut up out there. It's St. Valentine's Day, Robert. Be kind. Get out of here! I hope you all read his email treatise on me. It was very humorous, but also I thought wise and deeply moving. But back to the subject at hand. the way I see it, you've got this biological basis of love, and that's the need to reproduce. And then you've got some special biology that seems to pertain to humans, so I've been reading. And then you've got a lot of culture, and you need all three of those things to understand our concept of romantic love. And I don't think sex is enough. Now, my daughter-in-law raises goats up in the foothills of the Sierras. And about a year ago, she bought a billy goat. That's a male goat for you urban dwellers. And when you have a billy goat, it doesn't share your pasture with the rest of it. You have it fenced separately. And billy goats are really disgusting. I mean, what they like to do is pee, that is to say urinate, since it's kind of a formal occasion here, all over the ground and then roll around it so that they reek of their own urine. And they do this just on the off chance that someone will open the fence and let them at the female goats. And this is apparently under the view that this will help get sex. So my daughter-in-law opened the gate for 2 days, and then a few months later we got 14 baby goats from 6 different female goats. So the billy goat did his job, and that's it. The billy goat shows no interest in his children. No interest except one in any of the female goats. And mostly is just content to be in his pasture, rolling in his own urine-soaked grass. That's a fairly typical male role. That's why with every domesticated animal except human beings, the number of males is kept to an absolute minimum. You know, if you're a rancher, you don't want more than one bull, or maybe a couple just to keep the variety. If you're raising chickens, you have one rooster at most. Maybe you just rent one every so often. If you're a modern farmer, actually try to pretty much get by with a test tube and disregard the male of your domesticated species altogether. Now, I'm not going to get off into the philosophical issue of whether this would be a good idea for the last remaining domesticated species. It's probably impractical to eliminate the male of the species. But what we see, and romantic love is a very important part of this, is an attempt of biology and culture to bring the male into the domestic circle. Because in the female goats, now I'm talking about male and female here, therefore I'm skating on thin ice, because being politically correct, you must never assume there's any significant difference between males and females, and always be sensitive to any possible significant difference between males and females. And I don't really